Where I'm from, white owls represent an omen of death and passing of a loved one. Anyway, it was my senior year in high school and I had just turned 18. A week later, a friend and I were returning from his stepdad's house in the country, after having some deer sausage and biscuits. A few miles out of town, my friend and I were listening to Kendrick Lamar's Swimming Pools as we were driving. Suddenly, this large white bird came flying across our windshield right to left. Catching my eye, I stayed on it until it perched on a tree. Lo and behold, it was an owl. It's hard to describe the feeling that I had at the moment, but it wasn't one of fear. It was kind of a feeling of awareness and acceptance, a connection in a sense. Here's more backstory. My father was a successful teacher and coach, and loved by all. Known for his kind and gentle heart, he strived to make the reservation his home a better place. He was a large man and had eventually developed diabetes. He ended up losing his legs, a few fingers, and eventually his kidneys, and was forced to go on dialysis to help him live. The average lifespan for a dialysis patient is, I think, 5 years. By this time, he had already lived a dedicated and stubborn 2 years past that base, never missing the dialysis that picked him in the early morning 3 days a week. The months leading up to the white owl incident, I had taken several official visits to colleges for track and field, where I was able to wheelchair my dad around and show him the training facilities and campus. My mom wanted me to take these moments in with love because she felt that we were nearing the last moments for my dad. My dad wasn't a sentimental character, but before warm-ups for a basketball game, he told me he was proud of me, that I could accomplish anything that I wanted to. It was odd, but I loved it. I'm a softie and very loving, and although he was kind and gentle, those attributes, time, and energy were typically given to those outside of the family. So it was really nice to hear. Back to the white owl. I looked over at my friend and I said, "Bro, you saw that, right?" "Yeah, man. You know what that means, right?" "I'll be there for you, brother, as long as you're there for me." He finished it with, "Of course, dude. Love you." We turned the music back up and proceeded with our night. Thinking nothing of it, I went home and relaxed, watched some TV, and went to bed. My dad stayed isolated in his room most days, and we accepted that as a family. Going back, I wish we all connected more as a family, but we had plenty of good memories, so I'm grateful for that. The next morning at 9:17 during my PE class, I got called to the office. On the phone, my mom had called and said that Dad missed his van and must have overslept. Immediately, I knew. I didn't live far from the school, so I decided to just jog back to the house and check on him. I opened the house door and yelled, "Time to wake your ass up, Pops," jokingly but obviously serious because he needed to get to his dialysis appointment. I opened the door to his room, and this is a feeling I will never forget. Immediate peace and calmness enveloped me. It was freezing in the room, literally freezing. The town TV station Channel 4 was on, playing Unchained Melody by the Righteous Brothers, our shared favorite song. I walked over to the side of the bed, and he was so calm and peaceful. Hands resting on his sternum, blanket pulled just below his hands, prosthetic legs to my right. It looked like he was going to jump scare me, something he found comedic. Same, lol. I started saying, "Pops, wake up," in a whisper as I touched his arm. It was cold, colder than usual, and stiff. I had just learned about rigor mortis in school.
Rigor mortis. Rigor mortis.
Rigor mortis, stiffening of the joints and muscles of a body, a few hours after death, usually lasting from 1 to 4 days. Mid-19th century, from Latin, literally stiffness of death. In school a couple weeks beforehand, and I made the realization that my dad wasn't there anymore. I cried and bawled and called my mom and sister, but in all this, I knew he was finally at peace. No more major muscle cramps that brought him to tears. No more energy-draining dialysis. No more depression and sadness. It was peace. quiet and true peace. The white owl had shown his face and I listened. I accepted. I grew up in the church and had a few instances growing up where I believe a higher power or a spiritual connection between all of us has shown its face. But this moment was my breakthrough moment. This kind of turned into a description of my father instead of a focus on the white owl, but I thought it would fit. I'll be following up with 2 more instances where I believe my father let my mom and I know he was with us. Much love to you all. Benzie says, that's actually a really lovely story. I just moved to Rapid and you're right, the sunsets are beautiful around here. I loved your story, it couldn't have been more perfect. Thanks for sharing it. Thank you for sharing your beautiful memories. So sorry for your loss, such a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing. I think you felt his peace when you entered the room. He was still with you, I guess, and no doubt always will be. Thank you for sharing and sorry for your loss. Lonely River Sigh, wait for me, I'll be coming home, wait for me. Nice writing, thank you for sharing. I look forward to the sequels. What a powerful story. I believe that we all may receive messages for big events in our lives and even some small ones. I think it's our ancestors perhaps sending us the message that we must prepare ourselves for what's to come, or perhaps it's our spiritual guide. I'm not entirely certain, but it's my goal to find some insight. But it's reassuring to know we're not alone.